And we have a great show for you, David Ray Richardson. David, welcome. And so glad you're here. So glad you found parking amidst all the ghosts and goblins and the babies.
The
and
baby
everything.
shark.
Yeah.
I'm taking the baby shark home.
So, David, you've been here in the studio before with your friend, and so we just like to jump in and play some music. So, if you'd be so kind.
Okay, this first song is called "The Endless Tree." I've spent my life racing with the wind. Close my mind, could not see the end. So many years I did not understand what it meant to be here, just doing what I can. And so grows the endless tree, the endless tree. Cold world waits, scratching at the door, wants me to run, to do so much more. Now I just sit and wonder why I'm here. Why do we feel driven when all we need so near? And so grows the endless tree, the endless tree. Just don't tell me I won't find what's right for me. Life burns a candle and lights the night to see. Gliding through its branches, I'm dancing in the sun. I see its twilight burning, it can't be overrun. Days turn to weeks, months turn to years. Beneath it all the feeling, it finally will come clear. I'll know what it means to live without fear. When that time's here, I hope the end's not near. And so grows the endless tree, the endless tree. Just don't tell me I won't find what's right for me. Life burns a candle and lights the night to see. Gliding through its branches, I'm dancing in the sun. I see its twilight burning, it can't be overrun. The journey won't go on forever. Slow down, take a look around. You won't be here again. Don't rush to the end. Don't throw away what you might have found. I've spent my life racing with the wind. Close my mind, could not see the end. So many years I did not understand what it meant to be here, just doing what I can. And so grows the endless tree, the endless tree, the endless tree, the endless tree.
Yes, David Ray Richardson, live here in the studio. Happy Live Music Friday, y'all. We're back. Hi, Kim Lane.
Hi, Bob. Hi, Bob Johnson. While Kirk adjusts your microphone, it is great to have you in the studio at long last.
It's great to be here. It's let's see, it was canceled twice before.
We have had some issues,
Some issues.
getting you here live in the studio. So we're super happy we finally got it done.
Yeah, me too. I was beginning to wonder if it was just jinxed, This wasn't going to happen for some reason.
Well, David, during this period of time, our hiatus, if you will, has it been a time that's been productive for you to write new songs? Or, like many songwriters we've had in here, these unusual times have sort of put up a block?
Well, I managed to get a few new songs done, but not what I was really hoping to do. I thought I'd really take advantage of the time. But I did do something else. I did record an album, which I've got it recorded and mastered. So I was trying to get it out before the end of the year, but now it's gotten almost into the holiday season, so I've decided to push it out to after the first of the year. But at least I've got that done.
Nice.
Well, everybody, davidrayrichandson.com, and you can go out there and be looking for this album. And once it's released, then it'll be on all the typical streaming services and all that good stuff.
That's right. I'll probably be putting out a couple of singles off the album prior to releasing the album. So I'll probably I'm planning on putting out a single. If I don't get one out, I might put out one before the end of the year, but likely it's going to be in January.
Sounds good. Now, who recorded this album?
I did everything myself.
Wow.
Except for the mastering. I did the mastering in studio over in Carborough, the Kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And so I figured I needed to have somebody that had done this before doing the mastering.
Having a different set of ears always helps.
Yeah, but I did all the recording at my house.
Well, that's Brett Lambert, and he is kind of iconic in
Yes.
these parts over there. So anybody thinking about releasing a record, look up Brett for the mastering. It's after all the tracks are recorded. It's all mixed down, but then their sparkle comes out of the kitchen.
That's where the magic ears come in.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed working with Brent. He was very, very helpful.
Well, David, we just had a half-second lull in the conversation, and I think that means it's time for us to hear some more music.
Okay, this next song is called "The Rest of Our Lives." Saw you walking home late last night, must have been 4:30. I could tell by the dim street lights you couldn't take it anymore. All those little times we spent together have gone through past. Before we had too much, now there's no going back. Maybe it's this morning fog, it's keeping me so blue. Taste of your old cigarettes reminding me of you. All those little things you scattered and dropped into my life. What I'd give to have it back, that's just not in sight. We know what we need, what we said, what was missing, and we tried all we could to cover and fix it. Now tears and regrets are all that we'll remember, and we'll carry the weight of that night the rest of our lives. The rest of our lives. I still remember when we met that summer night. We didn't see the winter coming, and we would fall into the night. Day starting to clear at last, time to be moving on. Nothing here but a troubled past, now that you are gone. Maybe I should move back home, start my life again. Maybe I'll just hit the road, go where I ain't been. We know what we need, what we said, what was missing, and we tried all we could to cover and fix it. Now tears and regrets are all that we'll remember, and we'll carry the weight of that night the rest of our lives. Ooh, ooh, the rest of our lives. Ooh, the rest of our lives.
Hey.
Thank you. Little memory glitch there in the first verse, but
Not that I noticed.
David playing a really nice sounding Taylor guitar. Have you had that one for a while?
yeah, I had this. I got this maybe about 10 years ago or something.
It sounds really great.
Yeah, I really like it.
So the song we just heard, is that going to be one that's on the new record?
It will be on the new record. Yeah.
And these songs on the new record, over what period of time? Are they all fairly new, or some from the archives, or how did you pick them?
These were all primarily songs that were written maybe 3 years ago, time frame, 3 to 4 years ago. There's one on there that really dates back to 2012, I think. But most of them were written about 3 or 4 years ago.
Well, speaking of dating back, your musical history, tell us about that. Was guitar your first instrument?
Well, when I was very young, my mom bought one of those Lowry Hammond organs that
All
were
right.
very, very popular back in the 60s. And so I enjoyed like messing around with it, but I was not apparently interested enough at that age to take lessons or anything. So so I forego that possibility of doing learning keyboards. And then I started listening to some early rock and roll stuff, on AM radio, and I thought, guitar is cool.
Uh-huh.
And so I got one when I was about 12 years old
Okay,
or so.
wow.
But I primarily played electric for most of my life. I mean, until about, 12, 15 years ago, I started playing acoustic.
But this wasn't a musical rebellion thing. There was music in your house, and your mother was encouraging you to play music.
Yeah.
You just didn't necessarily pick up the music
Right.
that she wanted.
Also, another thing was a big encouragement to me was that really got me interested in it was I had an uncle and an aunt that used to play music at their house for family get-togethers, and he played guitar and she played piano, and they
Nice.
would sing and do a lot of traditional stuff, and I really enjoyed watching that, and thinking, gee, I'd like to be able to do that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
So that was a big thing.
Well, we're enjoying these songs very much and can't wait to hear what you have for us next.
Okay, this next one is a newer song. I wrote this, I guess I would say during the pandemic, during the first year probably of the pandemic. And this song is interesting history behind it. Started out as a single line, which ended up being the first line of the song. When a sleepy diner cradled by the highway. And that sort of somehow triggered a thought in my head about this story I read when I was in college by Ernest Hemingway. It was in a freshman college course, and it was called The Killers, and it was about two hitmen that were in a diner waiting for their mark to show up. And that sort of inspired the song. Now, I didn't really follow the plot line of of the story, but it does have a hitman in it. And it's a song about guilt and redemption, I guess I would call it. This is called Bad Things We Do. A sleepy diner cradled by the highway. Working late, I didn't feel quite right. Tried to lose my past across this wasteland. He'd walked into the place that Friday night. His face was scarred with too much sun and windburn. A dusty leather coat with ripped up sleeves. He nodded at me as he passed. I felt like I was made of glass. He slipped into a booth and dropped his keys. I told him that the restaurant would close soon. He smiled and said, just stopping for a drink. He motioned to me like a friend. I sensed that this might be the end. He pulled me close, my heart began to sink. Cleanse these hands, feel my regret. I know now what I've done was wrong. I fear that I just don't have the will anymore to try and make things right. Bad things we do. Bad things we do. I saw a gun was pointed at my heart now. In a low voice he said, let's take a walk. He took me back behind the cafe. Moon was bright just like the day. I knew that I was soon to lose my life. He said, you know, this just might be my last job. The years, they finally take a price. If this is my final dance, I think I'll leave it up to chance. Shut your eyes, this coin decides your life. Cleanse these hands, feel my regret. I know now what I've done was wrong. I fear that I just don't have the will anymore to try and make things right. Bad things we do. Waited with my eyes shut tight forever. Didn't even hear him walk away. My life of cold and anger cast out by the stranger. I climbed into my car and drove away. Cleanse these hands, feel my regret. I know now what I've done was wrong. I fear that I just don't have the will anymore to try and make things right. Bad things we do. Bad things we do. Bad things we do. Bad things we do. Thank you.
More David Ray Richardson here, live in the studio. Where am I? I don't know where I am.
Do you know what I saw in that song?
What did you see?
Do you watch a lot of film? And the reason I ask is because there's a movie called Paris, Texas. It was directed by Wim Wenders. And I heard that song as part of movies like that in the early aughts. There was this slew of movies, and Clint Eastwood was the latest to come out, his latest movie in which he plays the haggard old cowboy. I hear that song in films like that.
Yeah, actually, I thought about that myself. How that storyline reminded me of a lot of old, films that I've seen. There's the idea of a remote diner somewhere, out in the middle of sort of nowhere.
So what drives your songwriting? So far, what I've heard seems, I can see everything. It seems visually driven. So you started music when you're 12, but when did the songwriting come about and how is it driven?
Well, I played in some rock bands and stuff back when I was much younger, and back then I was less interested in lyrics, more interested in the music part. In fact, a lot of songs I didn't really know what the lyrics were. I liked the way it sounded.
Doesn't matter. We can play it loud.
Right. Yeah. So I wrote some songs back then. And I'm proud of some of the songs I wrote back then, but they were definitely a different style of songwriting. Very less lyric oriented. And then when I started doing some solo acoustic stuff, I started realizing, lyrics are a lot more important because they're much more out there.
Right.
That's what drives a song. So thankfully, I think I've mentioned to you before when I was here with my friend Lang, I moved to Columbia, South Carolina for about 4 years, and that's when I started doing the solo acoustic stuff. And thankfully, I was exposed to a lot of other really good songwriters there, and Lang Owens was one of them. He's great with lyrics, and so a lot of the people I heard there, inspired me a lot.
Yeah, we're big fans of Lang here in the studio, too.
Yeah. He just, as you know, put out an album recently. And,
Yes.
So anyway, so I focused a lot more. I started getting interested in doing some story type songs. Right. And I wasn't doing that much before. So some of my songs were, a mixture of stuff that are story driven and a mixture of things that are more like just perceptions on life, I guess you'd call it.
Everybody, we are here enjoying our time tremendously with David Ray Richardson. You can learn all about David at davidrayrrichardson.com, or you can just sit tight because we have over a half an hour of original music still here to go. And David, whatever you'd like to play, we'd love to hear.
Okay, this next song is written from the perspective of somebody that makes a living driving, like a truck driver, a salesman. And in this particular song, they've lost somebody that was, somebody fell out of their life that they were very close to. And this song uses sort of the well-worn analogy of the road as being your life. So it's called Meet Me at the End of the Line. I can't seem to find a place that suits my mind. I'm restless and I don't know what to do. Riding down this road, I'm lonely and I'm cold. Searching in my heart and I find you. Far away in a dream, just a memory. Drifting free from the heartache in my soul on this road that never ends. A months turn to years, I really need a friend. Meet me at the end of the line. Winter takes a hold, it's really getting old. Thinking about the last time I saw you. Snow is coming down, my feet can't touch the ground. Searching for some sunshine for these blues. Far away in a dream, just a memory. Drifting free from the heartache in my soul on this road that never ends. The months turn to years, I really need a friend. Meet me at the end of the line. So many endless nights wasted and alone. So many miles to go before I can get home. Winter turns to spring, I'm on the road again. The smell of flowers fills the air. Coffee's getting cold, I turn on the radio. I hear a song that we once shared. Away in a dream, just a memory, drifting free from the heartache in my soul on this road that never ends. And months turn to years, I really need a friend. Meet me at the end of the line. Meet me at the end of the line.
Hey,
Thank you.
David Ray Richardson here live in the studio. David, I'm curious about your guitar playing. You mentioned the Hammond Lowry organ not quite taking in your childhood, but the guitar being sexy and the guitar taking. Sitting here for the past almost 30 minutes, watching you play as well as listening to your play, it's super clean, but also looks effortless. Like you could play all night long and not get tired. Minimal movement. It's all on your right hand, kind of elbow moving and a little bit of wrist. And like I said, super clean, and it sounds wonderful. I'm wondering, did you have guitar lessons? Did this come naturally just from playing a lot?
Pretty much self-taught. I did take some guitar lessons when I was like 13 or 14 years old. It took about a year and a half of private lessons at a music store. It was Nick Manilov's Spanish guitar method. But then I got into playing electric, and then as I got into playing acoustic, I sort of blended in different, I guess, styles that I've learned over the years, because I played various genres of music, anywhere from classic rock back when it wasn't classic to, blues and some rockabilly and some.
I think that's
even some
what
punk stuff.
I think that's what I'm seeing is because the movement of your arm seems like classic electric guitar, rhythm guitar player in the band, and you're just moving up and down your arm like you could do this all night long. It's not taking any effort, but you're layering on top of that all of this, hitting some strings, not hitting the others, and doing some individual strings here and there, and it comes out sounding fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
So I've been kind of jaw dropped the whole time, just how clean and fun it sounds, and also how effortless it looks.
Nick,
Well, it's,
Nick Maniloff would
A lot
be
of
proud.
practice. What's that?
Said Nick Maniloff would be proud, even though he probably wanted you to arc your hand.
Yeah.
They have you arc your hand to where yes.
Get the claw going.
It's the claw. Well, everybody, we have reached just about the top of the hour, and this is proudly stated WHUP LP Hillsboro.
And David, this is the time in the show where you get to be a celebrity spokesmodel.
Okay. Yeah.
So
that's
if you
right.
would
I've
do your
seen
best
this done before.
Vanna White impersonation, while I remind folks that we have sponsors for both hours of the show, and this second hour of the show is sweetly sponsored by Matthew's Chocolates, 104 North Churton Street, Hillsboro, North Carolina, the finest in chocolate and chocolate accessories.
This is definitely a work of art.
For all of your chocolate needs. And yes, everything Matthew makes is wonderfully artistic. He will not let it leave the shop unless it is perfect.
This
And
is-
I don't know if you can see that at home on the camera, but it is another gorgeous 1 pound chocolate bar from Matthews. And he'll have written on the back, I think, what's in it. This one is, I think there's some caramel involved.
Dark chocolate, salted caramel peanuts.
Oh my goodness, that sounds
really
terrible.
good.
Yeah, this is a huge bar of chocolate, too.
Yeah, it might last you a while.
I will have to parse this out to some other people I know that would enjoy it.
You know, if anyone is listening and they're walking around Hillsboro, I am currently hopped up on some Matthews hot chocolate right now.
Oh, you got the Mexican hot chocolate, right?
Yes, and my blood sugar will be falling
But she's,
post haste.
she is breathing fire.
But no, everything he makes is so tasty and so fresh.
We're big fans of Matthews. Thank you, Matthew.
David, you'd shared with us when you started writing songs and why, but now you've been doing it for some time and obviously have developed quite a fine skill at this pursuit. So as you're in the midst of writing a song, well, first let's back up. You had said the one had started with a Hemingway tale. Is that a common impetus for the beginning of your songs?
No, not at all. That's uncommon.
And so what is common then?
Commonly, I just come up with some chord progression or some rhythm, some guitar riff or something, and generally it starts with like some sort of nonsense lyrics that's sort of hint for maybe one line or something. I pick that something that seems to fit the music, and then that sort of triggers my mind to think of can I make a song out of this, or not? And then sometimes I do try to keep a list of, I guess, just song ideas like titles or concepts, and sometimes I have taken a concept that I'd written down once before and actually figured out some music that went with it. In fact, this next song is one that I wrote like that. I had this idea of writing a song about the lifetime of a house, and then I found some music that happened to fit with it, and that's how it came about.
Well, that sounds like a transition to a song right there.
It does.
So this song is called House. The paint's all dry on the porch now. The workers are all long gone. Brandon loads tomorrow to make this house a home. A small tree planted in the front yard. A double garage for Dad. A brand new kitchen all shiny and clean. A day to give thanks and be glad. Our home, our house, what's in a place to live? Our fears, our hopes, sometimes a place to give. A young tree sways in the breeze now. The kids are in bed asleep. Mama and Papa are snuggled on the couch, watching some late night TV. Moonlight filters through the windows, crickets in the woods singing songs. Just another day in their shelter from the storm, just another night at home. Our home, our house, what's in a place to live? Our fears, our hopes, sometimes a place to give. You can want it, you can need it, you can sell it to your brother's best friend. You can love it, you can leave it, you can feed it till you suffer and bend. A great oak shades a yard now. Time to let the old house go. Mom and Dad have gone away. The place seems empty and alone. Height marks scratched on the door jamb, stains on the kitchen floor. Ghost in the hall wave goodbye. The writing on the wall says home sweet home. Our home, our house, what's in a place to live? Our fears, our hopes, sometimes a place to give. You can want it, you can need it, you can sell it to your brother's best friend. You can love it, you can leave it, you can feed it till you suffer, and then we search, we save, craving the American dream. We live, we die, what's it all matter in the end? A gray cat crouches in the corner, watches through half-shut eyes. A hobo reads last Sunday's paper, swearing at the stories and lies. A hole in the roof lets the sun in, a testament to time and its price. The old oak tree looks down on it all. The angels in the woods just cry, cry, cry.
Or David Ray Richardson live here in the studio.
Very fine, like full of imagery, Kim.
Yeah.
I'm wondering where people can see you live
Well,
soon.
I I haven't been playing out much lately. Been working on finishing out that album, and I've been sort of struggling with this voice. I've got a sort of vocal issue I've been dealing with the last few
Oh
months.
no.
Yeah, it's been keeping me from getting out and playing. And but I'm working on it with Duke Vocal Clinic.
Good.
So I'm really hoping to get this behind me.
Well, luckily, our show is being videoed, as Bob does always, or Kim on some nights when Bob's elsewhere. And Bob, tell us, because we know people would like to share this show with their friends who haven't been able to listen or watch this evening, how they can go out there, because it's going to hang around for a while.
It's going to hang around forever. I don't mean that as a threat. But you can find us, if you're watching the live stream now, you can find it probably wherever you're watching this live stream for a good long time. We are at WHUP Pass the Hat, WHUP Pass the Hat, on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Facebook and YouTube keep them forever, or until Elon Musk buys them and shuts them down. And Twitch is live for 2 weeks. We also have the high-def audio stored on the WHUPFM.org servers for all time, where you can go out and listen anytime you want to the full 2-hour show. Just go to WHUPFM.org, click on shows, scroll down to Pass the Hat, and then you can see 7 years of Pass the Hat shows. Most of them tagged by the artist, the last 2 or 3 because I haven't updated them yet, but you'll know by the date. October 28th is David Ray Richardson.
David,
Very
as you're in the middle of writing these songs, and we talked about how that starts up, the genesis, if you will, and so after you kind of form your song straight on through to completion, does that happen all at once, or is there some sort of evolution and revision and things like that?
Some revisions never end. I've had songs that I've been messing with for years, literally, that I've and then some songs, and this is when I'm lucky, a song might just sort of flow out very quickly, and I might write it in a couple hours or something, at least the majority of it. But generally, it's a progressive process. It sort of evolves. Generally takes at least a couple of months, I guess, by the time I start coming up with an idea for a song, but before I feel like it's pretty finished.
And do changes happen both on the lyric side as well as the music side?
Yeah, both.
Both of those.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're patient, though, to sort of not rush it to completion, that you have this feeling when it's there, when you're comfortable with it. But until that point, is it enjoyable to go through that process?
I think what happens is I get frustrated, and then I go on to another song.
Okay.
Then I come back to that one later. So it's like I might have several songs in the works, and
So-
some never get finished.
From the fires of discontent can come enlightenment.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of. This couple of month time frame between the concept of a song and maybe it being kind of almost sort of finished is not linear, not one song after another, but there may be a handful of songs in there all at the same time.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of times I might have 5 or 6 songs that I'm working on at one time.
Right.
Yeah.
And who gives you feedback? How do you, I know that you probably have an inner voice that says, okay, I'm done now. But do you collaborate with others to get that feedback?
A big source of feedback for me has been my daughter.
Okay.
She does some editing. She's a writer, and so she gives me some good feedback, some very honest feedback. It's been
Good.
very helpful.
Well, it's good to have a muse like that who you can trust, and especially a daughter, a relative. So that's excellent. And is she local?
Yes.
Nice. Well, we
In
hope.
fact, she sings on her name's Sarah, and she sings on a couple of songs on my the album that's going to be on there. She sings the backup on those.
Are we to believe we'll start seeing slices of this album, say in January?
Yes, that's the plan. And I'm also planning on, if everything goes according to plan, I'm going to be start performing around here
Excellent.
after the first of the year.
Excellent. Well, everybody, DavidRayRichardson.com, and keep up with David's adventures. And do hang around because we've got another song coming up right now.
Okay, this next song, it's called You Walked Away With My Heart. You tell me that you got a secret I don't wanna know. You say that you don't really love me and you gotta go. I ask you why you cannot stay anymore. You just turn and look away as you stand in the door. Sometimes words can lose their meaning, just plain fade away. A bitter pill is hard to swallow when your world is gray. I whisper to myself that it's not what it seems. Our eyes they meet and then I know as I wake from a dream. You just came and walked away with my heart, with only darkness left. It tore me apart, but I know I may live without you. I won't forget about you until we meet again someday. You can't imagine what may happen never works that way. Everything can fall to pieces in a blink, they say. And then you realize what you could not see before. Life is change and you're awake, and you want something more. You just came and walked away with my heart, with only darkness left. It tore me apart, but I know I may live without you. I won't forget about you until we meet again someday.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
David, who are some of your musical influences?
Gee, I guess as far as the style I'm doing now, I'm not really sure if there's any specific well-known artist. I guess I picked up a lot of influences from people I saw playing, friends of mine, when I was in Columbia. Because before I moved there, I was more into a different genre of music. I was more into more high energy rock and roll stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if I tell you my influences from that, I guess was people like Jeff Beck, Mason Ruffner,
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Winter, stuff like that, the Allman Brothers. So I have a lot of Eric Clapton, classic sort of guitar type.
So what is it about Columbia that calmed that down?
Well, I think when I moved to Columbia, I moved there and I was living by myself. I transferred my job from Washington State. I'm from Atlanta originally, but I lived in Washington State for about 17 years. When I moved to Columbia, I was living there by myself, didn't know anybody in town, and I saw that they were having an open mic at this place called Bill's Pickin' Parlor in Columbia, a songwriter open mic. And so I thought, well, I've got an acoustic guitar.
I can do
give this a shot. I've never had played any sort of solo acoustic stuff. It always been in a band type scenario. So once I started doing that, I just sort of fell into, and they were very welcoming there. I made some good friends there.
So
was great.
it felt good. You got
Yeah.
good positive feedback that
Got
way.
some positive feedback, and I thought, well, gee, this is, in a lot of ways, it's, even though I like playing with a band and having and what all that entails, this is a lot less hassle. 'Cause you don't got to get the band together.
You don't have to herd the cats.
Yeah. Plus all you carry is your guitar. So it's it was very appealing to me in that particular part of my life. And so once I got into doing that, I suddenly got exposed to a lot of music that I hadn't really listened to much before. I never was really much into solo acoustic stuff when I was younger. So a lot of the stuff that a lot of people that do this kind of music now, or draw upon James Taylor or, people like that from their youth, or Simon and Garfunkel or whatever, and even though I didn't, I liked some of that music, it wasn't something I listened to much.
Yeah, I totally get that. My youth was lots of rock and roll itself.
Yeah.
Lots of all the classic late '60s, early '70s.
Right. Yeah.
Lots of rock, but then as you mature and you grow up, you start looking back at a lot of other music that was going on and say, hey, this is great too.
Yeah, there was a lot of great music that in other genres, that I never had paid too much attention to.
Yeah, so sometimes you need something like an open mic in a new community to kind of jar you into listening to something else.
Yeah. So
Open your mind a little
that's
bit.
exactly what happened, yeah.
Well, David, I think you're adding to the genre. So if you could add, we'd love to hear some more music. I think we've got time for one, maybe two more songs.
Okay, let me see what I got on my list here. Okay, we'll try this one.
Yeah, make sure we have room for the grand finale.
Don't know if I've got a grand finale. This song was inspired by a couple of trips I made out to the American Southwest. And I was out in the desert and in that area, real desolate area, and I was thinking, gee, living out here and trying to get around out here before there was cars and trains and stuff, it's very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And probably a lot of people died out here, as we know from westerns that we've seen. Anyway, that inspired this song, which is called "Vanish," and the person in this happens to be a songwriter. The sun laid low, the desert sky exploded into flames. There was more than I could take. Walking for 3 days, no water to my name. There was only fear and pain. The last few years, bittersweet, few victories came my way, and my well had left me dry. Scorched with sorrow, life grew harder every day. Once again, I learned to pray. All these lessons learned so hard, is this where it all ends? Time and sweat spent on this earth seem to vanish where it begins, vanish where it begins. Twilight fell, darkness came like night I'd never seen. I could sense heaven stare. Wind sang sadly through the hills, no one to call my name, and I felt alone and scared. All these lessons learned so hard, is this where it all ends? Time and sweat spent on this earth seem to vanish where it begins, vanish where it begins. I lit a candle, told myself I've got a job to do. If I die this night, I'll see it through. To all the ones I love, this song's for you, 'cause it's you that made life true. You made my life true. Morning sun broke through the clouds. He lay there in the sand. They found him still with eyes shut tight, guitar beside his hand. No one said a word as they looked upon his face. A gentle smile was all they saw when they found the song that told his fate. All these lessons learned so hard, this is what my life has been. But my time and sweat spent on this earth will not vanish. In the end, it won't vanish in the end.
David Ray Richardson here live in the studio. And David, we got time for one more song, but before you play that one more song, I need to remind folks that you are listening to WHUP, and we rely on listener support. We've been doing this for 7 years now. We've had here on Pass the Hat every Friday night for 7 years. We've had toddlers. We've had octogenarians. We've had Glenn Jones' mom. We've had...
What was his mom doing?
Singing.
I
We've
did not
had
know
Lucy
that.
Bella.
We've had
We've
Lucy
had
Bella,
Lucy
yeah.
Bella. Well, I'm sorry, that wasn't Glenn Jones' mom. That was
Somebody's mom.
Becky White's mom.
Oh, okay.
We've had 7, 8, 9-piece bands. We've had 20 people here in the studio listening and playing and cheering on. We've gone through a pandemic where we had a screen up and everyone wearing masks and playing music. We never stopped. We keep bringing you the best in live music ever, and we need your help to do it. Get out, please, to WHUPFM.org. Click the donate button. Keep the music flowing, y'all. David, will you play us one more song to play us out?
Okay.
And y'all, DavidRayRichardson.com, because you need to find out when he's playing live, and that's how you do it.
This is called Into the Fire. There's too much motion. Too many times I had to say, give me an ocean of melancholy summer days. Tell me the secret of living a life with truth and faith. Never too angry, skate on through it, hope and grace. Should I jump into the fire? Just let it go, let it burn. If it has to, let it swallow me whole. Should I jump into the fire? Repaint my life till it's alright. Tide everything around me. Still I suffer, sweat, and make a promise I'll be good. I would, I only could. Lately my faded dreams tumble from my wounded soul. They promise me anything to have and hope for something more. Maybe I'm jaded now. Changes come and changes go. One thing you can't deny, you gotta move if you wanna grow. Should I jump into the fire? Just let it go, let it burn. If it has to, let it swallow me whole. Should I jump into the fire? Repaint my life till it's alright. Tide everything around me. Still I suffer, sweat, and make a promise I'll be good. I would, I only Should I jump into the fire? Just let it go, let it burn. If it has to, let it swallow me whole. Should I jump into the fire? Repaint my life till it's alright. Tide everything around me. Still I suffer, sweat, and make a promise I'll be good. I would, I only could.
David Ray, thank you for coming to the show. You're not leaving, though. We're going to turn off the live stream here in a minute, right?
In a moment.
Mm-hmm. But first, you're going to be our DJ. And David, so stick around on the internet, not on Facebook.
WHUPFM.org. You can stream there. You can stream on the TuneIn app. But the live stream on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook will end now as soon as David looks in the camera and says goodbye.
And as you do that, I am looking at what looks like a really hot playlist. And we're really,